Well, welcome everyone to today's community hour. We have a really special community hour for the Online Network of Independent Learning Professionals today. I am Patty Bryant. If I've not met you, so wonderful to have you here. And today we have Billy at Wellsaid and also Leo at Continuity Intelligence. They're going to do a joint session that's going to cover AI voiceover and knowledge drift that are, these are two areas that intersect more than a lot of people realize. And I've been really excited about this presentation today. We've got, thank you so much, Chris, for introducing and making the introductions and really making this happen. So I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Billy and Leo. And if you have questions throughout the presentation, you can type it in the chat and we will make sure and get your questions answered. This is going to be, we won't wait till the end for questions. We will go ahead and just have a conversation throughout. So feel free to jump on in as we go through.
Thank you, Patty. I'll
Absolutely.
introduce myself first. I'm Billy with Wellsaid. I've been with Wellsaid for almost 4 years now. I don't know how many of you use an AI voiceover tool, but Wellsaid was one of the first voiceover tools, and we are still the only AI voiceover tool to get tied to a real actor and actresses who get paid royalties. Recently, in the last quarter or 2 quarters, we've made a strategic decision to say, hey, there's so many independent instructional design professionals out there. And based on what they're doing, it's super exciting. We should give them some tools for free and get them to use the product, invest in that community. And that's where this whole partnership program is launched from. So they put me in charge of partnerships, and we want to show you a free couple of tools that you can have and use and how we're using them. I pulled along one of our great partners called Leo. They do drift detection, and he said, hey, I love this community as well. I believe in it. And they also offered to give away free subscription. So Leo, if you want to come off camera and just introduce yourself real quick.
Hey everyone, great to be here today. Thanks for having me. Leo, I'm the CEO of Continuity Intelligence. We launched around early last year, and we do, like Billy said, drift detection. We work very close with Wellsaid. Happy to have them as a partner. And, I'm really excited to tell you more about what drift detection is. I'm sure all of you have experienced what we call drift in some capacity in your careers. But we have a pretty effective tool and platform that actually manages all this, so it's not a manual process anymore. And we do offer a free pilot. A lot of our business comes through our partner and referral program, so I'm really excited to talk about that. Happy to be here today. I'll turn it back over to Billy.
Thank you, Leo. So a quick show of hands first, which is how many people have either used Wellsaid or heard of Wellsaid? We'll start with that. And I'm realizing I can't see virtual hands. So it looks like Christy has, okay. Some people might be off screen. Dawn has, awesome.
We got folks in the chat letting you know as well.
We've got folks in the chat.
Yes. So we've got a variety.
So if you haven't, we all know instructional designers create a lot of content. Those could be video contents, they could be PowerPoint presentations, they could even be one-pagers. And a lot of the time in the past, we would have to spend a lot of time either doing the audio ourselves, or we might go through a voice actor or company and get voiceover and pay for the audio track. Now, a lot of voice actors have partnered up with AI voice companies to say, I can give you permission to use my voice, and you can text the content, and you can get a great professional sounding voiceover in my voice, and I get paid royalties. So that way I can scale my production. And on the instructional design side, you get narration whenever you want. So you can not only use it for video, you can use it for slideshows, one-pagers, and everything like that. Because of AI and how fast it is to create content nowadays, one of the big problems that's coming up is outdated curriculums. People are moving super, super quickly. And as a result, some older curriculums that might have been your best training 2 or 3 years ago suddenly are out of date because one or two things are wrong. Maybe a process has changed. Maybe a logo has changed. Maybe the name of the actual product or service is different. And that's where we've partnered up with a company like Continuity Intelligence to not only scan for that drift, but to automatically fix your old training curriculum without having to manually go through that. And that's been a big topic this year that we've seen, which is a lot of Fortune 500 and Global 2000 companies I talk to is saying, hey, Billy, like because of AI, we're creating content a lot faster, but then our older curriculum and training curriculum is going out of date a lot faster as well. So what we'll cover today is like where AI voice fits, where it doesn't, talking about the content drift, showing you the two products of Wellsaid and Continuity Intelligence and kind of the changes that we have in both of them, and then talking about this referral program. And then at the end, we'll do a quick live demo of the two softwares and then spend 15 to 20 minutes to go over any questions you have. But like Patty said, please interrupt me at any time if you have any questions. Actually, I'll come back to this slide a little bit later. First, I'll show you a video of Wellsaid Labs, and then maybe we'll jump into, so let me grab this on YouTube, and let me share this tab. And Patty, let me know if the audio is being shared when I play this.
Okay.
Welcome to Wellsaid, the #1 AI voice platform for enterprises. Bringing your content to life only takes a few seconds. It's simple. Choose from hundreds of AI voices, accents, and languages, voiced by real voice actors, like me. Insert your script and get edit suggestions on the fly. Collaborate with your team in real time. Direct the performance to sound exactly how you want, every time. Now you're ready to share with audiences worldwide. Get started now.
So this is Wellsaid. And then I will go over, I'll actually play the video for Continuity Intelligence as well.
Your product team ships an update. A button moves, a workflow changes, a policy gets revised. Now someone has to figure out which help articles are wrong, which training modules need re-recording, which onboarding flows are teaching new hires something that doesn't exist anymore. So you open a spreadsheet, start comparing screenshots, and hope you catch everything before a customer notices you didn't. And it's not because they don't care, it's because they're buried. Building the next course, launching the next certification, recording the next walkthrough. When you're already behind on new content, going back to audit everything you've already shipped feels impossible. So the old stuff drifts, quietly, until a customer gets the wrong answer or an audit finds a compliance gap. Continuity Intelligence is the first knowledge change management system. When your product changes, we detect exactly what content is affected across your knowledge base, training modules, in-app guides, and documentation. AI recommends precise updates. Your team reviews and approves. You stay in control. No more spreadsheet audits. No more hoping someone catches it. Connect your source of truth, a product page, a support site, an internal wiki. We continuously monitor it for changes and map the impact across every piece of content that references it. When drift is detected, review the AI drafted fixes in line. Approve with one click, edit if you need to, and sync the updates to every connected system at once. It works inside the tools your team already uses: Slack, Teams, your LMS, your knowledge base. No new dashboard to check. And every change is versioned, auditable, and compliant. So when someone asks, how do we know this content is current? You have the answer instead of a shrug. Start with a free scan. Paste a URL, upload a course, or connect your LMS and see exactly what's drifted. From there, keep it self-serve with an always-on subscription or bring our team in for a fully managed engagement. Either way, you stop playing catch up for good. Your product never stops changing. Now your knowledge doesn't fall behind. Continuity intelligence. Change happens. Knowledge keeps up.
All right, so that was a quick intro of both these products, and how it works together is once Continuity Intelligence finds the drift, they'll recreate the audio section in Wellsaid. And if you need the narration track to be fine-tuned, you can go and open up your Wellsaid subscription and fine-tune it. But for Wellsaid, anytime you need an audio track, we recommend that if you are just prototyping or if you do your voices yourself, start with the Wellsaid Studio experience. It's fast at scripting. If you have clients and they have really tricky vernacular, you can load up all the company vernacular inside a library. I'll show you a quick demo about this. But anything where you're thinking, hey, we want to do voiceover, use Wellsaid. There are times, some big use cases that we're seeing there are times where a client might have instructor-led recordings. So in the past, they've done some in-person instructor-led, and now they're building e-learning for the very first time. And one of the easiest things to do is you go and find that old recording. It could just be like an old Zoom webinar. It could be a webcam in the back. And you grab the transcription from that video and you recreate that transcription into Wellsaid and give it a voiceover. And then just take the slides and create a video series from it. So we're seeing a lot of companies take instructor-led trainings of whatever recording that they have and reproducing that with a new audio track with some slides and creating their first e-learning from it.
And Billy, we had a quick question if this works with Synthesia and content in a community course library like Circle as well.
As long as the software has an import audio function, it will. So for Synthesia, they're actually one of our first partners way back when. You can probably find some Wellsaid voices that are in Synthesia, not all of them. But I think in Synthesia, there's an import audio button and you can bring that audio in. One of the reasons why people end up choosing Wellsaid instead of just using the Articulate or Synthesia or Beyond out-of-box experience is because of the pronunciations and consistency. So sometimes when you go in Articulate and they have their text box and you're typing a script, you might have to like tweak certain words and respell them in a different way in order for you to get that word to be said correctly. And each minute it takes is pretty tedious. So when companies choose us, they realize, okay, hey, we can get the audio right off the bat immediately from a script, and then we can just import the audio, and it beats having to like edit some words. And that's like our top use cases when you want a standalone voiceover product to have better control.
Very cool. And then another question about cloning your own voice. Is that on your roadmap?
That is 100% on our roadmap. For a long time, we were trying to figure out how to do it the ethical and the right way from a commercial use standpoint. So the ones that you see out there, the reason they're able to clone a voice so quickly is because they only take when they take 5 minutes of your voice, they're basically taking the top layer of your audio sample, but using the underlying data of like YouTube and a whole bunch of like public data or maybe scraped private data mashed up and then putting your thin layer on top.
Wow.
And we've always been concerned, which is, hey, if at some point a company gets sued because they're saying this voice cloning technology is using public data that wasn't properly licensed, all that training content has to be taken down. Luckily, it hasn't happened yet, but the way we've always approached it is if we build our technology, including the voice cloning, the underlying data that builds your voice clone has to be licensed correctly, commercial rights. And so in the past, we've had people go into the studio for 2 hours. We're working on technology to do 30 minutes, but we're always going to build it with commercial use in mind because we are enterprise grade, and we've never had to have anyone take down their training curriculum due to copyright violation.
That's fascinating. I had no idea. One other question from Christine. Can multiple voices be applied during the transcript process?
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I will share a quick demo of getting started with Wellsaid with those different characters and multiple voices, and that might answer some of your questions. But for now, I think I'll tie the use case of Wellsaid and Voiceover over to continuity intelligence, and I'll let Leo take over a little bit and share about how companies are using drift detection and why that's mattered really recently, and then we'll get into the demos. Any other questions, particular?
I think you've got them all covered so far, unless anybody else has anything they want to put in now. One other question, Danny, can you talk about the new functionality of sections and what the best practice is for using it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'll also cover that during the demos. So I got multiple narration and sections. I'll write that down. In conclusion, I think Voiceover is not only used to create new content and do it faster, but one of the top trends we're seeing is when companies are starting e-learning for the very first time, taking older videos that people have created, grabbing the transcription, re-recording the audio, and then putting the slides to it that might have been done in the past. It's something that we're seeing over and over again of taking old data, refreshing that content with new fresh voiceover and new slides. Leo, I'll pass it over to you for you to talk about why companies are starting this drift management and the trends that you're seeing out there in the market.
Sure. Did you want me to anything, Billy, or you want to continue using your deck?
If you have something to share, you're welcome to share.
It's okay. It doesn't seem to let me.
Oh, you'd have to if you want to unshare, and then Leo can.
Perfect.
I've got it really locked down, just secure as it could be.
All right. Can everyone see my screen here?
Yeah, continuity intelligence for ever accurate learning.
Okay, great. So I did see what is drift detection. It is a new that we coined for this concept of your curriculums going out of date, which happens quite frequently. A lot of the industry is focused on new content, what's coming up, how can we create this faster, more engaging visuals, AI tools. We think very little time and attention gets put on what has already been created in the past and is still out there to users, available to the public. Products are changing constantly, right? I'm sure you've seen this multiple times in your careers where your team or maybe even a user says, I was trying to follow this training guide, it doesn't look right. You have to go back and fix it. You don't know what the new information is. It's a whole process to get this manually. It takes many human hours. And there's actually a lot of downstream impacts to having incorrect public training, learning content out there. There's trust erosion. Sometimes there are actually legal issues. If there's a support team associated with the business, the support team is getting hammered with questions all day. And ultimately, the end users aren't learning the right thing, not able to perform their duties and tasks because they don't have the right training. So how does our platform help fix this? Well, we took what was traditionally a very manual process. Teams would come together once a quarter, once a year to review all the training and what needs to be updated. They have spreadsheets, they have Jira tickets, they have a lot of meetings, chasing down subject matter experts for the latest information. It is a very painful audit process. No one really likes doing this manually. But what we can do now with automation, with AI, with all these app integrations, is we can very quickly and easily run continuous scans across LMSs, across help centers, across applications, websites, see what seems out of date, those for review, suggest the fixes, and push those into the current systems. So the downtime between incorrect content being live and it getting fixed gets compressed to a much more reasonable timeline. And so, high overview of how all that works is scanning, just continually analyzing what's out there, recommending the fixes, human in the loop, very important, to see are these actual issues or maybe false positives. Our AI agents are trying to suggest and even push those updates into the right systems to save human time. And then, constantly syncing throughout multiple platforms. These 500 enterprises have sometimes a dozen different platforms with the same content replicated in a certain way. So that's a quick high level overview of how all this works. Let me give a quick view into the actual app experience. We'll take a scan we did for Billy's company, Wellsaid, and their Zendesk Help Center. So, they're a company that has 100 help articles getting updated weekly as they release features, as their updates, as they take down features even. And obviously things get missed over time. The engineering team communicates with the marketing team, communicates with the support team, things get lost in translation. So,
and for this one, Leo, I'll jump in real quick. A lot of so Wellsaid's pretty nascent in our training content, and so our team said, "Hey, let's start with support articles." A lot of our support articles are used to build our training, but it is very much part of continuity intelligence and Wellsaid's goal to also do training content as well. But for the demo, we're going to show support drift, and not necessarily training drift right now.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for clarifying that, Billy. So out of 104 pages that have been ingested into the system, 36 drift alerts, which is quite a few potential issues that could trip up a user on the road, lose current business, lose potential business. A lot of issues that could happen. I won't do all of them, but maybe just one example is it looks like they are sunsetting what they call their C app. So they have two versions of the app, the old UI, the new UI. Some of the articles reference the old UI, and that needs to be updated because that's getting sunsetted June 30th. So it flagged that, called it out. So you should probably update this to say this is going away before people get tripped up over the instructions. And just dozens and dozens of the examples of catching where text in the app has changed. The instructions say click button A, it's now labeled B. A lot of things like that throughout that need to be fixed.
Quick question on this, Leo. Don was asking what has to be in place or not in place for CI to be able to scan across the courses in the LMS. Like, how does it get to this?
Yeah, there's a few different ways to get to this, right? There's information that's both publicly facing and internal, and we see both. When you get set up and onboarded into the continuity intelligence system, you're going to be linking in your sources of truth, LMS systems, help center, internal wikis. We're also scanning everything public because that's what's affecting the users. So any public-facing training, any help articles, we're scanning the public marketing website, making sure everything is in sync. So I hope that answers that question.
That's helpful. Yeah, thanks.
I know when we first started, our team was a little bit not worried or scared, but hesitant to give access to our knowledge base and add a new user. And so we said, hey, here's our public facing training and our public facing support. And here's access to our product. Those are easy things to get access to. Please compare the two of our product versus what's there publicly. And then as we're getting more comfortable, now we're saying, hey, here's our training that's coming up. Here's our old training, and giving it access to internal documents. Sometimes we upload them, or sometimes we just say, hey, here's a screenshot of our knowledge base. And now we're getting comfortable to the point where we're adding continuity intelligence to our knowledge base and working on that.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking that. So I won't dive too deep into all the functionality, but just wanted to give the overview of what the problem is, how we're trying to solve it, how the app works. Billy, did you want to talk about what we're offering free or the partner program? Where should we go next with this?
Let's do the regeneration aspect, and then we can talk about the partnership affiliate at the end. One thing that's really cool about continuity intelligence and the Wellsaid partnership is not just detecting these drifts and what's outdated. It's actually updating that content. So when we talk to a lot of instructional designers, they're saying our clients have to do these refresh cycles. And in the past, we haven't been able to say, hey, I'll do the refresh cycle for you, because it just is super time consuming. But now, not only can you find, hey, here's what's wrong with the older training modules, but you can actually recreate those training modules. So if you want to show them a quick example of a video that was recreated, Leo, I think that would give them an idea of how the recreation works.
Yeah, that's a great call, Billy.
And while we're on this, quick question from Tess, I think kind of goes with this. She has two questions. One, do you have the ability to add a content glossary to continuity intelligence? And then how are drift alerts generated from learners, leadership? I think you mentioned one of the ways. I didn't know if there were others.
Yeah, let me answer those quick questions. Then I'll show you the recreation aspect of the app, because scanning and detecting is only half the battle here. So do you have the ability to add a content glossary? Yes, I think what you mean is I don't want to connect an entire system, but I just have maybe a spreadsheet, a Word document, PDF, something where I want to tell this system here is what is important. I think maybe the upload documents feature, or connecting like Dropbox or SharePoint or somewhere where your documents live. Yeah, corporate branding language. Yeah, that is a common thing we detect, is a rebrand where logos have changed, like a tagline has changed. So you would upload your branding information, the color schema, the new logos. We would scan your website, your materials, anywhere with the old logo. Our system would try to flag that and surface that to you so it can be corrected. So I hope that answers that first question. How are drift?
You might actually see it for the recreation. So at Wellsaid, we had some old videos that were created like 2 or 3 years ago, and the logo's a little bit off and the product's a little bit off, and they're able to regenerate it. And we were able to fine tune it with our Wellsaid studio. And then I think the second half of that is, how are the drift alerts generated from learners, leadership, etc.?
I'm trying to understand this question better. Are they asking, where do the alerts get surfaced? Like, how are you alerted? Or are they asking even earlier than that?
Tess, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for example, if a learner sees something wrong, can they flag it? Can they report
Like if they, so if they see something that, yeah.
Or if, let's say the leadership team is making changes to something, if they see something not correct in the training modules, can they flag it? Like, or is it just specifically built on your library and like your source of truth, like where those things live? Those have to be kept up to date.
Oh, see what you mean. You can add your own alerts, but as for learners themselves, they're usually not interacting with a system
Mhm.
that directly tied to continuity intelligence.
Okay.
Ideally, the training module they're on has a feedback widgets built in, but if it's missing that, we don't have any way to interact with learners directly. But if they're actually on the team, the leadership of providing the content, then yes, there's ways they can run alerts in here.
Okay, thank you.
I think the way we've done it in the past is if a learner is, or someone's on the support page and they see something that's wrong, they fill out like a little comment, and then we take that comment and we pass it to continuity intelligence and say, hey, one is we actually first check to say, has this error or drift already been flagged in continuity intelligence? And 99% of the time, it's already in there. And then if it's not, I think I guess we've just been emailing Leo and been like, hey, this is what the customer told us. How come your system didn't flag this as drift? And I know there's somewhere in here where the system will learn what we care about over time. And so I think, Leo, your team's done a really great job of like, okay, hey, the Wellsaid team cares about like font sizes being off, and then adding that and like training I'm probably explaining it poorly, but training the AI algorithm to start flagging those things as drift in the same way where like there's some things that we necessarily don't care about. Like, for example, there's sometimes like links that are missing a security code. And for us right now, that's not a high priority. So we say, hey, don't flag those things as drift. And we're training the auditing AI system to match what our company cares about. Leo, help me. That was a word vomit, but
That was a great explanation. So thanks for explaining that. Tess, I hope you got your questions answered.
Yes, definitely. And it's very fascinating how they talk to each other. It's great.
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. Okay, let me cover the final thing to show you here, before we move on to the next topic. So beyond text, we are scanning images. We're scanning even. So how to tie this into Wellsaid is when we scan video and we detect things are off, the app has changed. So the audio and the visual are now saying the wrong thing. There was a button called CL Avatar. Right now it says CL Voices. Later said click CL Avatars. Because if someone's following along in this tutorial, I'd be looking for the wrong button. There's actually a recreation aspect where it detected 8 different places that are now out of date current application. It's to re-record the AI agent clicking through the app. The original video did. This video was published by Wellsaid a few years ago, which is why it's obviously out of date as their app has evolved. This is a sped up demo. It takes much longer than just a few seconds. So first step is re-record the UI section, then regenerate narration. So it takes the original transcript, makes modifications, uses Wellsaid's tool to regenerate all the narration. And then we need to splice those together. The visual, the narration top, and then you get an entirely new video that can be additionally edited, video editor tools. But what a day's process getting a new voice actor, finding someone who knows how to do professional quality screen recording or has access to the right things. Everything is happening right now, just in continuity intelligence. So it's a good overview, Billy. Share.
yeah, maybe if you want to play the original video and then play the second video so they can see kind of the difference of how it got recreated.
Yeah, let's do that. Are you getting
Oh, and maybe
Yeah,
it is
there's no
not
audio.
audio. It could be.
No. I need to adjust my share settings.
Yeah, you might have to reshare again. While Leo's doing that, a lot of what continuity intelligence is doing is making it easy for people to go through an audit and get a quick draft, and then people would then either put that in their favorite video tools like Clipchamp or Canva, or take it to Wellsaid for narration and then fine tune it. But it gets you about 80-90% of the way there. And then if there's things you want to add, it just gives you the template a lot faster than if you were to have to rebuild the video from scratch or rebuild the curriculum from scratch.
And actually, quick question about that, really quick, Billy. Danny had a question that kind of ties in with that. She said you had an integration with Canva and then it disappeared from the App Store. And she was wanting to know if there's any insight that you can share on why.
Yeah, the reason why was they didn't let us use all the voices, and they would cap us at like how long of an audio clip we had. And so our product team felt like that wasn't a great representation of the Wellsaid experience, and decided, hey, it's probably easier for people just to import audio rather than try to build it in Canva.
Got it.
So that was a product decision. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for
I'm sorry that one disappeared, but hopefully it's better that way. I think, and the audio they're generating wasn't as good as what we felt like was being created.
Mm.
With Wellsaid Studio.
Yep, now I can
In
hear
this
the
lesson,
audio.
we'll guide you using the studio. Let's get started. First, create a new project. Give your project a name and enter a client name if you want. In the drop-down, select the current version of Studio or explore our latest features in the future version. Select the voice avatar from our voice library. For our script, let's try Patrick K. We can audition other voices later. Click inside the text editor. You can either tag your script here or copy and paste it from your source material. Once ready, click Create to generate your first take. Last, click the play button to hear your words brought to life.
Welcome to we can pause it there. So you see that like this was an old video that was part of a tutorial that we created like maybe 2 years ago, and our products changed a lot. Our buttons have moved everywhere, and you can see that in the recreation. And so this just took like a one button recreation, and our team then took this and fine-tuned it a little bit, but this is without the fine-tuning. This is just right off the bat.
Welcome to Voiceover with Wellsaid Studio. In this lesson, we'll guide you through creating your first clip. Let's get started. Create a new project. Give it a name and add a description if you'd like. Then choose your studio experience. We recommend Wellsaid Studio. Now select a voice from our Voices panel. Let's try Patrick K. We can audition other voices later. Once you've picked the right voice,
and we can pause
inside
there.
the text.
Yeah, you can see that the whole like studio experience had changed, even though the legacy like intention of what the tutorial is supposed to show stays, and most of the transcript and this actual scripting stays the same. The website refreshed with all the updates, and we put that new voiceover to it. I think next steps, if our team could probably publish it right now, but we actually take that video and then we fine tune a few things. Like Wellsaid was pronounced a little bit trickily, so we might change that, and it just makes it a lot faster to refresh content.
Cool. That's awesome.
Leo, I'll take, I think this flows nicely because I'll show, hey, when we grab something like this and then we want to use Wellsaid to either fine tune the voice or recreate, I'll do a quick demo of Wellsaid. Is that all right?
Yeah, sounds great. Let me turn sharing back over.
So this is the new Wellsaid experience. When you start a new project, you can start new projects here. And I think one of the questions is like, how do you have multiple voices and multiple narrations, and how to use sections? So when some people are starting from scratch, they might, let's just call this ONP demo. They might create a project, and if they have a script ready, they might break down the script. Well, first they might choose some languages. I'll go with Alan. And they might import their script. Like, that is one common way to do it. Or they might choose a website. So let's see if there's a website that we can grab. Can anyone give me a website of either their website or something like that?
Who's got one for us? All right, we've got dtrtraining.com.
dtrtraining.com. All right, let's see how this
Thanks,
goes.
Heidi.
Oops. Let me do this. HTTPS. Okay, DTR training. Let me just grab some content from that. So
I can put something in the chat from it if you need.
Yeah, I might just copy and paste.
Okay, perfect.
But ideally, how sections will work is that when you import the script, each paragraph is in a different section. And if you use sections when you either want different voices or you want that section reviewed by a different person. So here's one that we did for ATD of like a get started guide. So we want this first sentence to be someone's voice. And then we want the second section to be a different voice actor and the third section to be a different voice actor. So if you play this whole thing, or if you want different takes, let's say I play this and it doesn't sound quite right and I want to do a retake, I'll hit the retake button and I can decide which take of that section I want to use. So imagine that you're like a voice director and you're saying, hey, I like this first section, let's lock it in and let's move on to the second section. In the second section, you can play around with the retakes. You can use cues to direct it like louder, slower. So each section, where it feels like a fresh concept or a new paragraph, that's when you would use it.
Awesome, thanks for that. And I think Danny has a question on this, so I'll turn it over to you, Danny.
Thanks. It's probably easier to ask. So
Sure, yeah.
I've been using the new set. I don't typically import a script, mostly because I'm creating the script in the tool. So whether that's Beyond, Karen's shaking her head, she does the same thing. Storyline, even Rise, if I'm doing, let's say a tabbed interaction, I am doing audio on each of those tabs, and it's not necessarily in a script, like a Word document or anything like that. I'm typically creating it kind of on the fly, if you will. So what I have been doing, the way the sections work, it's not really, I end up doing it by slide and keeping, rather than putting all of that into one section. And so it's funny, as I was doing it, I'm like, I don't know if this is the best practice, but maybe for the way that I am writing the script, that's what makes sense. So if you have suggestions, I'd be open to them. Like, I'm just using it differently than that. And so that's why I wondered what the best practice was around the section pieces.
I see. Maybe we can do this, which is after this call, if you do a quick screen recording of like how you're currently using it,
Sure.
Send it to me and then I'll take a look and give you some tips on, hey, this is the best way to do it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like others are doing it that way too. Just it's just how my development flow works. So I'll send you a video.
Okay, cool. Very cool. So this is Wellsaid. I think we've got 13 minutes left, but for those of you who don't know, you can create a new project, you type in your text, you have a whole bunch of libraries and like pronunciation. So if you have tricky vernacular, you can put it here as well. like 401k might be done differently, or company terms. But this way you have a library and it pronounces it right the very first time. The best thing is everybody will get a subscription. If you already have a subscription, please let me know. Your next year's will be free. So even if you're a Wellsaid customer, we will move you to, you'll have the same plan. We'll just move it for free for you for the next year and the years after. If you're on like a month-to-month plan, I'll update you with a free business plan. So no worries there.
That's awesome.
Patty, I'll send you the link so people can put their emails in, and they say, hey, this is my team. This is how big I want it to be. But I encourage you to give it a try. And if you have any other questions, for the sake of time, I think we'll just end it. We'll end it, but we'll end the demo at that. And we'll move on to kind of this referral program that we have. So as a refresher, if you're an independent instructional designer and a brand comes to you and says, hey, we want to do a big content refresh, the combination of continuity, intelligence, and Wellsaid is going to be really helpful for that. Or if you want to do an audit and say, hey, I'm happy to do an audit for you to show you what curriculums are out of date. If that's a business line you want to develop, you've got two really great tools for it. We don't have the video editor right now. So if you have a video editor, that's great, but at least you have the audio and you have the drift detection. For the referral program, how this works is if you have a client who is not using Wellsaid Labs and they end up saying, hey, actually, I really liked how you do audio, and you sell them, or actually you just introduce them to us and say, hey, by the way, here's our customer. They're interested in what we did to create this great content. We'll give you 30% of the first year contract. I think for continuity intelligence, they are more generous and they're giving 50% of the first year's contract. This is something that's completely optional. If you want, at the end of the day, you're still getting your free subscription. That's not going to go away, even if you don't do any referrals. But in a world where your clients want it, it's a really great way to do that program. And so I think next steps is I'll send Patty a link for everybody who either has a Well subscription and wants to convert it, or convert it to free, or people who haven't had Wellsaid and want to try it for the first time. We'll get that happening. We'll do the same thing for continuity and intelligence. Leo, I think it's a little bit trickier on your side because they would actually need to submit a customer for you to scan. Like you can get them a subscription dashboard, but unless they have a customer to scan, can you talk a little bit about that, how that would work?
Yeah, so free pilot scans for anybody you're working with. Contact me if that's interesting through Patty, and we'll get that started. Is that what you're asking for, Billy?
Yeah, which is, I think for your request, it'd be not only would they need an email address, they would also have to tell you which company and what link that they want to scan.
Yeah, a little bit more onboarding. So we'll send you questions with whatever information we need to get that going.
Okay. And that's it. So anyone have any questions? Was that helpful?
Oh, so helpful. Yes, we do have a few questions. Okay, question for me. Am I sending the link out via email or putting it here? I'll be putting it in the Slack community. So folks who didn't attend and folks who did attend, it'll be posted there along with the recording. So you'll have both there. If anybody has questions at this point, I would say, why don't we just like unmute? You can, do the raise hand thing if you want. Yeah, Heidi, go ahead.
So just to update my subscription, I've got to make a change to my account because I had a project manager and now it's just me. It's under my name. But do I talk to you about that, Patty? Do I send that to you? My current Wellsaid?
You can send it to me. Yeah, I'll put my email down here.
Thank you. Yes, if I could have your email, that would make it easy.
I will handle it. directly. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Billy. I'll also put your email along with all this in Slack so people have. Yes, Karen, I can reinvite you to Slack. I gotcha. If anybody else needs a Slack invite, feel free to put your email address there and I will, yeah, Dawn, just put your email address in the chat and you can put it to me directly or in the regular chat, whichever way. I've got Karen's email. Perfect. Thank you. What other questions? Christy had a question more about Wellsaid Labs. I think we have we've got a couple minutes left. So she was asking about like emotions for voices, like creating a scenario. She creates a lot of scenarios with characters and like, a frustrated character. How do you direct that emotion so it's, not cheerful when the customer is complaining? Is that something that you can do in Wellsaid Labs?
We're getting better at it. I think right now, if you create, let me share my screen again real quickly. If you are creating a new script like this, on the right side, you'll see emotional presets. So there's happy, excited, calm, and right now you can apply it for the entire section. And so that's why we recommend, hey, if you want the section to have a certain tone, and so I can click stern or serious. And what it actually does is it'll change the fine tuning. It has like some presets and you can give that a try. We're also working on a feature called like say it my way. So I could say dynamic training resources creates high quality and it would try to mimic my intonation and tone. But that's on the way there. This is what we have right now as a workaround is those emotional presets on this right-hand side.
Awesome. Yeah, and I also love that you can adjust the pace, which has really helped me in some of the projects I've been doing. Tiffany and Allison are wondering if there are like translation available for other languages like Spanish.
Yeah, right now we haven't found any great translation services. Most people just use Google Translate or they use AI to translate. But with your subscription, you will have other languages. So I don't know if in the past you've been on the creative tier, but everybody will be getting a business tier. And part of the business tier is you'll have access to other languages and other voices. So you can find the languages here.
That's awesome.
I want to point out one thing that I find very interesting, and one reason I switched besides the ethical portions behind Wellsaid from a different vendor was that the organization, having to put it into the folders, I can organize things, I can put the notes in there, and so I can go back, weeks, months, years later. But the other thing is I do a lot of medical and government, and if there's a word it's not pronouncing, you can also go through and just highlight that word. And then then you can choose, there's like it's the lines that go this way or whatever. And you can choose that and it will give you different options. So you highlight a word and it give you different options for that pronunciation,
Ooh, I
maybe
didn't know
several
that.
English options. Yeah. I just got that last week and it was like, oh, okay. Because I was playing with them trying to figure out what all they do.
Yeah.
And that has helped tremendously because there's many ways to say things.
Sure.
And
That's
we're
a
in
huge
Oklahoma and
one.
it's very kind of slow. So
Yes.
Let's say articulate. You can find a replacement here. There's some suggested ones that you can play.
yeah.
Articulate.
And you can listen.
Articulate.
And then if you don't like any of them,
Articulate.
you can generate a smart suggestion and it might have some other options.
Articulate.
And you can also plug
Articulate.
in words. You can create your own dictionary. So like some of these oil and gas terms, libraries, thank you. You can go through and figure out the right way. And then in the future, when you plug it in with the normal spelling, it will automatically use your pronunciation.
I love that, Chris, because actually I have a client that uses Wellsaid, so that's where I've gotten my foot in the door with using it. And I've been like going into the audio editor and like the one time it did it right, I'm like going to the audio editor and I'm like pasting it in. So I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah, you can save that for future. And when you do it, you can actually, so when you figure out the right way, then you can literally just save it into your library for the future.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Well, give me all my time back from that. Cool. All right. Any other final questions? We got just a couple minutes and then we'll conclude here, but I just want to make sure we get everybody's questions answered if they have any.
Yeah, of course. So our big take for 11 Labs, I think we actually started before 11 Labs. I think there's a question there. And we started out at the Paul Allen Institute, and we've always been focused on enterprise, which means like the voice actors we sourced are all licensed by us. We pay them royalty. When 11 Labs first came on board, they scraped all of the internet. You might have seen they're like faking Joe Biden's voice and fake, like they did a lot of like deep fake voices. And they took the approach of, hey, we're going to let anyone use these voices regardless of consent. I think now they're getting better now that they're bigger. Yeah, exactly. And so for us, 11 Labs always carries risk to it. It's great. They've done a great job with the amount of money they raise in technology. For us, we're low and slow, and there's a reason why the Fortune or the Global 2000 works with us, why banks work with us, just because if there ever is a reckoning in 2 or 3 years and they say, hey, you need to have the grounding data in your source data, we take the liability of saying, hey, here's all the data behind it. And we've taken that approach. So we meticulously go through, find voice actors, put them into a studio, record for 2 hours. Hopefully we get output, do it again. I think 11 Labs wasn't built that way. Maybe they're moving this way now, but that's probably the biggest difference is just how we've approached our data set gathering and our liability.
Okay, well, I just have to say this has been an enlightening hour. Thank you so much. And then Karen, yeah, go ahead.
We do both. So sometimes there's independent, non-union voice actors that we really like, and there's some times where SAG-AFTRA has a voice actor that they've brought in that we've really liked as well. So we've done both.
Well, I just want to take a moment to just thank Billy and Leo for spending an hour with us and for their, generous invitation. I am going to be posting all of this in Slack. So I've got to add to Slack, I've got Karen, Dawn, Christine, and Viana. So I will send you via email your Slack invite. And Billy, I will send you and Leo the link for the YouTube recording of this, and then also the screenshots that I took along the way. Everybody that's on the call, the next time that we meet is next Thursday, which is going to be Thursday, June 11th. That's the Facilitator Focus Community Hour. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. And I have learned lots. So I don't know about you all, but I have learned lots. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody. And thanks for your time.
Thank you. See you later.